I'm going to be talking about question number 1, which says, who is the true monster, or is there even a monster? I would argue that there is no monster in this novel because because in my opinion, a monster is someone who commits bad acts or murders without any remorse or feeling bad about it after, and does it for no good reason. And I think both Frankenstein and the creature either feel bad about what they've done or have good reason for what they've done. In the creature's case, he feels extremely lonely, which is shown on page 134, chapter 17. He says, "You must create a female for me with whom I can live in the interchange of those sympathies necessary for my being. This you alone can do, and I demand it of you as a right which you must not refuse to concede." He just wants Victor to create someone like him so he can feel a sense of belonging. And the reason why he committed the murder of William and is in such a rage is because he has feelings of sadness and anger that he doesn't have a family and that there's no one who can understand him, and he doesn't have the skills or the tools to express his anger or sadness in a constructive manner, so he is forced to display his sadness and anger in a destructive manner by killing William, and then later on killing Elizabeth and Henry. And in the case of Victor, I think that he is very sorry for what he has done. He's very indecisive in what he does, which is why I think he doesn't step in and stop and vow to stop the creature faster. When Justine is on trial after William's death, it says on page 68 in chapter 8, "During the whole of this wretched mockery of justice I suffered living torture. It was to be decided whether the result of my curiosity and lawless devices would cause the death of two of my fellow beings, one a smiling babe full of innocence and joy, the other far more dreadfully murdered, with every aggravation of infamy that could make the murder memorable in horror. Justine also was a girl of merit and possessed qualities which promised to render her life happy. Now all was to be obliterated in an ignominious grave, and I the cause." Victor knows that he's at fault and it's eating him from the inside. He is not happy that what his creation did, and it's actually causing him a lot of stress. And after this, later on in the novel, he vows that he's going to stop and destroy his creation. I think by doing this, he shows that he is not a monster. He might have made some mistakes in the past by not acting more definitively and taking care of his creation, but when it comes down to it, he cares what happens to the human race, and he also does not want the creature to continue to kill. He feels bad about what he's done and takes full responsibility deep down and knows it's his fault. This can also be shown when the monster demands that Victor create a female for him, and Victor responds with, on page 134, "I do refuse it, and no torture shall ever extort a consent from me. You may render me the most miserable of men, but you shall never make me base my own eyes. Shall I create another like yourself, whose joint wickedness might desolate the world? Be gone. I have answered you. You may torture me, but I will never consent." I think through this statement, Victor really picks a side and decides that he's going to stand up for what's right, even though he made mistakes in the past. Looking back at both Victor and the creature, neither of them are monsters, because in the monster's case, he is just trying to express his feelings but doesn't know how. And in Victor's case, he is just indecisive and has made poor judgment. But in the end, he takes full responsibility for everything that's happened.